And then Brett asked the group if they were willing to have a discussion. Asked him straight up. And they verbally refused. And that was kind of a tipping point for me.
Would you like to hear the answer or not?
No! What are you going to do?
You're fucking useless then! You're not learning anything! No. Chill! Listen!
Stop telling people of color they're fucking useless! You're useless! Get the fuck out!
I don't care!
I had an outburst, I'll admit. I said, as a direct response to that, then you're fucking useless. I also felt useless. I could see the strings moving these people and where they went, and it was like a Lovecraftian moment of awareness of this existential cosmic horror that I was just insignificant against. If love is that which enables choice, then fear is that which disables choice. And I felt like my choices were being whittled away. I could see these people being moved in ways that were destructive to all of our future on this planet. In one of the most progressive schools in the world.
Really quickly, we don't need to stop this at all. But anyone who actually needs to get fed, who hasn't gotten fed, there's been a few people who have stepped up to offer to get them food. So yes, but also get fed.
Yeah. There's also cheeseburgers over here and fries. We're just kind of in the way.
Fuck that, we collected reparations now. Eat.
And you guys buy a steak.
You can help push in chairs, take care of the space so people can focus on food. So you can help be cleaning so that folks can sit down and relax and eat. And then they can deal with their stuff. So you can push in chairs.
You said specifically that you're not a white ally.
Right.
Was that a rhetorical thing, or do you see that there were these? What do you mean by that? Well,
I think the quote-unquote white ally, it was more rhetorical to begin with when it started becoming a prevalent term at Evergreen, but it definitely became one that was used frequently. It became more like one of those buzzwords, But insofar as I know that there are people on this campus who remember what I did at Convocation, I can never be forgotten about. I don't know if you're aware of the protest that happened on Convocation the first week.
It was very small.
Yeah, very small. Just a few students, but a lot of them were the same people that were leading the stuff that happened in spring. Mm-hmm. So at first I was turned off from Evergreen because of that. Actually, at the protest, one of the things that was said by one of the protesters was, "Fuck white people." Mm-hmm. And that struck a chord with me in a very negative way. I immediately thought back to my grandfather, who he's from the Deep South, Nashville, Tennessee, and one of the first desegregated schools he was actually the principal of.
Oh.
Yeah, and when he was trying to open this school, it was a magnet school oriented to draw students into the inner city, whether they be white or people of color, to try to get them to do very rigorous curriculum. And the idea at the time was that these people of color couldn't do the same work as white students.
Okay.
And he said, well, of course they can't. There's no reason why they can't.
Previously on the Complete Evergreen Story.
I said you need to stop demanding that everybody use logic and reason and white forms of knowledge to fucking prove yourself to the world.
But they had told him that if they hold them to the same standards, then they're going to flunk out and the school will fail. And so he basically just said, then let's do it, and if the school fails, then it fails. Mm. And today, Hume Fogg, the school that he was the principal of, is actually one of the top schools not only in Nashville, Tennessee, but in the country. So when I heard them say fuck white people, I thought back to that and thought, well, wait, there's white people that are trying to help, that are trying to be allies, and although the community might not be doing the best that it can, they're trying. And so I said some things that I wish I would have used a different tone about, because I definitely made people feel uncomfortable.
Get that camera on her ass!
That's good. That's enough.
She's gonna tell her right now.
Get that camera on her ass!
Excuse me.
Get the camera on her ass.
No, fuck you, George. You don't want to hear a goddamn thing you have to say. You talk so
I
fucking much. No, you shut the fuck up. No, for now.
I think what's smart is not to I think what's smart is not to tone police people, because people are angry, and so what matters is what they're saying, not how they're saying it.
When people feel threatened because people finally are taking their power back and trying to say something, and they might be saying it in a tone that's upset because we're upset about this stuff, and then they get charged or with student conduct violations and have to leave the school, and that's what happens to people of color and disabled folks who are trying to speak up and say something, and they have to leave the school or have to feel unsafe here or have to feel like the whole administration is doing something against them. That is not okay. That is silencing, and that is what I'm afraid is going to happen with people who are, you know, you're saying that, like, I mean, I understand that it's like maybe feels threatening when people are trying to say all this stuff at you, but it feels threatening every day for students who are trying to exist here and don't feel safe and don't feel like they ever have a chance to say any of this.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, as a white student that is straight and cis, there's definitely less of a voice that I have, because they did center people who are less represented than me. And at first I had qualms with that, just because of the basic idea that people should be able to say what they want, not based off of any prior representation. But I understand to the extent that they feel like for so long people who look like me have had a chance to speak, and that now is their chance to speak, and that it was my time to sit back and listen for once. And it wasn't actually until I sat back and listened more that I started to really understand what they were talking about. So I feel like a lot of the times people jump to make a counter argument before they really understand what that person means when they say something, and that it takes listening to something 1 or 2 or 3 times before you really understand what the argument was and the best way to respond to it was. So I wouldn't say that I felt like I didn't have an opportunity to speak. I just never felt like anything that I was going to say was really going to create positive discourse. I feel like people were going to shut it down, not because it was being said by somebody like me, but because it just wasn't the right thing to say, and that it was going to be wasting time when there wasn't time to waste.
How can I help you, please?
Hey, it's Stacy. Did somebody call in to report an incident at the Greenery?
Yeah, I'm monitoring the Greenery right now. They're doing a sit-in there at the front door.
They're doing a sit-in. Okay, and then was there a call because of a fight over there?
No.
Okay. So what my concern is they're trying to lure us into a situation.
Right, exactly.
And so we sit still, and if it's serious enough, then we would call in outside resources. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the asshole who locked the fucking fridge.
It's not his fault.
Nah, it is his fault. Don't even try to justify
Jacobson, right here.
Okay.
All black.
Yeah, that's the guy who locked the fucking fridge.
He's a lead cook.
Trying to keep the food.
But you're the one who locked the fridge.
Fucking paying to be
Because you
here.
thought that we were gonna.
I'm paying you.
You locked the fridge because you thought we were gonna take over your fridge.
But he doesn't make enough, you guys, to feed you. By the way, he's done.
Even though we've already all prepaid. So you took our money, but you don't have the resources to feed us, which is a state violation. Okay, but you should have been working an hour ago. We shouldn't have to stand here malnourished because you don't want to do your $11 an hour job. You take the shit too seriously.
Jacob.
Why don't you all broil me something back there? The lead cook, chef it up. Students of color because they seen too many people was here, which is a state violation.
And they thought that
everybody here has an account or has a guest pass for everybody to be able to eat. They sit here and 20 minutes ago they just told us they had absolutely no food to be able to serve us, and here they are 20 minutes before they close because their managers made them come down here because of a protest. Now they have to serve food.
We just came down here because we were down here because of a protest. I came down here to help.
I wasn't saying about you.
We're talking about you. We're talking about this guy. What's his name again? Jacobson.
Jacob Boyle. He's the lead cook. It says on his nice black chef jacket.
Oh, he apparently doesn't even cook. He just locks the fridge from hungry students.
it's really scary because when you were being a student in the middle of that, there was a lot of times where I was feeling, gosh, like this is going against, like everything that people are doing right now is going against my critical thinking and what I feel like is right. But if I'm wrong in this situation, am I actually helping racism? Am I supporting a racist narrative? That sucks. I don't want to be that. And so the way it's put to everybody is that it's that one or the other. You're either with us or against us, and if you're against us, then you're the ultimate evil, you're supporting racism. And so being confronted with that is really scary, and I feel like there's probably a lot of really confused individuals that feel like they're doing the right thing, because if you're doing the other thing and you're wrong, that's, I don't know. It's like I feel like if you're on the protesting side and you're wrong, then you thought you were fighting for racism, you thought you're doing a good thing, and what you end up being guilty of is being, I don't know, immature and wrong. But if on the other side is, if you're wrong, then you're a racist. So it's like, at least if you're wrong on the protesting side, you're not a racist. So it's like, I can understand why more people would want to rather be a protester.
If it's determined that we need a police response tonight, it will not be coming from us. It'll be coming from Thurston County.
Okay.
And that's if it's a life or death situation. Wendy's going to check this out and let us know what the deal is, whether or not we're going to call Thurston County or not. The way that this group is so aggravated, they're very volatile. I'm not in uniform, long story, but I am armed, and then I'm not sending you out, Pam, to deal with this crowd by yourself. So
I'm not going out unless it's life and death.
And the nourishment of our bodies, and understand that we have already been here for an hour and a half, and you need to make reparations for how you've harmed all of us in this specific instant. And yes, because that is $11 an hour salary job, that is a fireable position, and you're still not mandating any type of consequence. So there is an issue that you're not willing to address.
Technically, every position is fireable.
Well, that's not what George was telling us earlier with faculty, but this I know. You could instantly come in here and make an impact right now, but you're blatantly deciding not to because they're making us pizzas after the Greenery is supposed to be closed, after we've already swiped our cards and paid.
So would it be useful for us to take down the names of students that swiped and did not get food?
Only if you can guarantee us that we're going to get our money back. If not, then why the hell are you taking
Right, why are you taking names?
Are we going to get in trouble?
Are the people going to have a list? Are the people at the front going to have a list of names of people who are welcome in here to have another meal based on, like, I'm not, are you implementing a refund for the people that gave up their guest passes and didn't eat? So that's what how are you accommodating to us? Because we're about to walk in, we haven't eaten. Technically your space is closed, so you haven't done nothing for us, and you have to admit a refund. You have to, or it's a state lawsuit. So because you're violating state requirements. Like, this is not me saying it, this is the state saying that. It's a requirement for freshmen to eat on campus. It's a requirement that you guys have nourishment for every student that has a paid Greenery account.
So, are there folks here right now that want their swipe removed from their card?
I think everybody here would like a refund and additional meals through the end of the quarter.
Yeah.
For people that don't eat on the Greenery, let me say that don't have meal plans.
What I can offer right now is for folks who swiped, were paid, and didn't get food, take the swipe off.
Okay, so if she's willing to refund you your meal count if you did not eat today.
So if you have Evergreen ID and you swiped your card and you didn't eat, come to Wendy and Wendy's going to remove that swipe.
So pretty much everybody come get your card swiped.
Okay, I have a question. So what are going to be the consequences for
him? Because how do we know this is not going to happen again?
Because the reason why all of us students walk in here is because we have the concern of, like, students aren't being safe we're not safe on campus. So all of us was going to stick together and make sure that our friends were able to eat safely. They got mad and was like, oh, you guys came in here to steal our food. Who the fuck wants prison food?
That's true.
We came here to protect ourselves because we have nothing else.
Right, because we walked out of the room and George gave us no concrete detail on how specifically he would help accommodate us.
We're fucking done with this. Like, they haven't answered shit. So, like, how about administration, George? Why don't you get the fuck out? Like, we're done.
No justice, fuck peace. No justice, fuck peace. Fuck you, George. See your way out.
He didn't say, well, let me call the military base and see if they can help accommodate black students on their way home. Let me call the police that are on campus to help protect us, escort you guys to the Greenery if you need to eat.
To be clear, she's saying that George Bridges is being negligent towards student safety by not calling Joint Base Lewis McChord, which is 34 miles away, and requesting a military escort for students to walk between the library building and the cafeteria, which is about 450 feet.
So you guys, that's easy for you guys to have easily implemented to, you know, promote the safety of your students of color. You completely dismiss that, and then when we have allies here to help make sure we're safe, you blatantly disrespect them and malnourish everybody and deprived everybody of what they've already paid. I'm not even gonna say it's their right because they paid for it.
Not on top of that, we have Jacob who works here, and when I went up there and nicely asked him, hey, people paid, can we get the food? Why did you lock it? When I was told it was him, he said, I have no right to it. And I said, well, you have the keys, open it up. It was like, we just wanted some hamburgers. And he blatantly lied to me after telling me he had the keys, that he didn't have the keys and that he would get to it after his paperwork was done. Vanished for over 30 minutes. And then when he came back, was suddenly like not talking to us, anything, and blatantly rude. Yeah, he hid in the back. Oh, he hid in the back of all the other workers. Listen, what's his name? Ray's the only one that has helped.
Yeah. And he's a veteran, a marginalized veteran. The one veteran you have working back there, is the only one that stays to accommodate to the students. So how are you going to accommodate to him as well? Because everybody took a good 45-minute work break, and a veteran of our services of our country is still out here cooking, sweating.
And honestly, every time I come in here, he is the only person still working his ass off. All the time.
So how not only are you going to address marginalized people of color that are students, but staff here?
So are there students that want a refund right now?
Yes, we need somebody fired so that they don't, because if we come in here again today, is he going to do the same thing? And if he does, what are the repercussions for that?
He doesn't pay enough to feed us. Literally, quote unquote, he said, I don't make enough money to feed you right now.
But he doesn't make enough money to feed us, but you had enough time to take the money from all of us.
He doesn't even know how to cut.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. If this is an issue, if you're not going to fire him, and we have this on camera, so that's what I'm saying. Whatever you guys think is like imaginary and made up, we can take to a lawyer and lawsuit, and that's directly him speaking and saying I cannot do X, Y, and Z, which is an explicit, against the Washington State's law. It's not conduct, it's not a policy, it's Washington State law. Fire him.
Go, gooey dust, go. Stretch your necks when the tide is low. Siphon high, squirt it out, swivel all about, let it all hang.
That's it. Sing it early and often.
And then you come to motherfucking fear. This is what fear looks like. When you got your back against the wall because your fucking student body, who is the most powerful motherfuckers on this campus, tired of shit. We want shit to change. We don't want a motherfucking training in the summer to happen next year. We got a month left in this shit. A month left of you getting paid from whose money?